What's the word, Harrisburg? My name is Matt Maisel. Today we are talking about one of the most important things that you can do to help your community, and the best part about it is that almost everyone can do it. We're talking about donating blood and volunteering for the American Red Cross, and with us right now we have Laura Burke, the Executive Director of the Red Cross of Central Pennsylvania, and Wendy Jackson Dow, the Vice Chair of the Board of Directors for the American Red Cross of Central PA. Thank you both for joining us on What's the Word.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So the American Red Cross, I mean, people are familiar with the American Red Cross because you see the Red Cross at disaster sites, you see the Red Cross at blood drives, but maybe not fully understand what the Red Cross's mission is. Laura, can you explain what exactly the Red Cross does? Absolutely.
We're a group of humanitarians at our core. Anything that alleviates human suffering, the Red Cross is involved in. That's our core of our mission, and we can only do so through the generosity of our donors and our volunteers like Wendy here.
And Wendy, when we hear about the Red Cross, and Laura just alluded to donors and volunteers, what do you tell people that you come across, whether friends or family members, that want to volunteer, they want to donate blood, but they're a little unsure about it. They're not quite sure kind of how to go about doing that?
Well, thanks for that question. We make it so easy. And 90% of our workforce are volunteers, and we're immensely grateful to them and for them. I know for me, when I have given blood, I have a lot of anxiety because I'm terrified of needles. Our volunteers are excellent. They made me feel comfortable. I had no anxiety. They're very professional. Everything is confidential. And what I found out as I became more familiar with all of the services we have, I think that's the real opportunity here, just to speak to how many services we have. Many of them are free. And from swimming, my daughter took the babysitting course to be certified as a babysitter. We have a program where our volunteers will stand up with people going off to join the military if they don't have family there locally. We do things for pets. We save lives with our home fire programs. There's just a litany of programs that I wasn't even aware of that every day I learn more, and I'm so impressed by our volunteers.
I'm really glad you mentioned that, because one of the things that I wanted to get into, which usually list podcasts are the least interesting to listen to, but I think it's also really important because most people just see Red Cross as kind of, I alluded to, as a place to donate blood, or you see them at a disaster site. But Wendy, you touched on a lot of things there which most people don't realize the Red Cross does. So what, besides blood donations and disaster relief help, what are other areas that the Red Cross specializes in that maybe people aren't aware of?
So it's great you mentioned that, because we often say, many people know us for blood and flood. And there's a great amount of programs that the Red Cross offers that we just don't get to talk about enough. So when we get to have these opportunities like you've provided us today to talk about it, that's incredibly invaluable to us. Wendy mentioned our services to our military community. We were born on the battlefield. Clara Barton first got the inspiration to start the American Red Cross during the Civil War. So being able to carry out those services up and through today, that was part of her original part of the mission, is incredible. We have services for anyone there in their life cycle of service, from deployment through their veteran life cycle, and the Red Cross is there at any step of the way to support them with anything they need, and not just the service member, their caregivers, their families. We have a variety of free programs and offerings and casework services for that community. We were instrumental in the Geneva Conventions, and we have an entire international program where we teach the community about the rules of war. Certainly a really important part of our time right now, but talking about what are those rules of war in armed conflict, what is you can't do, what can you do? So there's a lot of part of our mission that is focused on just that, the humanity side of it. Obviously with the blood donation, it's vitally important, but then teaching people how to respond to emergencies. Often when someone suffers a cardiac event, it is a bystander who is the first responder. How can we get people to learn CPR and be able to perform it with confidence? So we have a variety of classes for CPR education and a little bit more informal side of CPR education, just teaching those hands-only compressions. There is just a spectrum of ways that the Red Cross supports this community.
And you also mentioned, I think I heard swim lessons, babysitting.
Yes.
And
Pet care.
and-
I mean,
wow.
Yes.
It's something that we're familiar with here in Harrisburg, or at least I am, because I kind of got to see it firsthand a couple years ago, was the Sound the Alarm event, the home fire prevention, where the Red Cross goes around and helps install or helps provide smoke detectors in people's homes, correct?
Yeah.
it's a wonderful program, and that program literally saves lives.
Yeah.
And in addition to our wonderful volunteers walking neighborhoods, going with their ladders, with these smoke alarms, literally installing them in people's homes. And Laura can speak more to this. That's wonderful. But there's also another tool that we have that can assist people with fires if they're deaf or blind. And that literally saves someone's life as well. It's some kind of
The bed shaker
a
alarm.
bed shaker
Yep.
alarm. Who knew?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
What is the bed shaker alarm?
So for those that are maybe hard of hearing, there are bed shaker alarms that do just that. It's like a vibrating tool. So for those who have a need for that, we will install those as requested for those hard of hearing, the hard of hearing community.
Oh, wow. So
Isn't that
it kind
amazing?
of, it
Instead of
almost
the
in a way,
beep,
it
beep.
hooks into the smoke alarm and it sets off an alarm on the bed to basically shake
Shake
you up.
you awake.
Shake
Shake
you
you
awake.
awake.
That's right. Isn't that wonderful? And that has literally worked as it's designed to work and has saved lives.
The Sound the Alarm event that I remember up in the Allison Hill neighborhood 2 years ago at this point, the one thing that stood out to me is, like you said, it was almost entirely volunteer based. People walking around. What is the time commitment to do something like that? How does one sign up to volunteer, and how much time should one anticipate volunteering their time?
So there's a variety of ways to volunteer with the Red Cross. I'll talk about the home fire campaign events, like the one that you attended in Allison Hill first, and then I'll talk about more extensive volunteer opportunities with the Red Cross. But to volunteer on a home fire campaign and be the person who walks the neighborhood to install the smoke alarms, it can be as simple as a 5-hour daily commitment just for that one day. We engage corporate partners, community partners, local government partners. Anyone can, put on their sneakers and grab a ladder, and we provide all the training, the tools, the resources for anyone to be successful. And the great thing about the Sound the Alarm campaign is you don't have to feel nervous that you're going out alone. You're on a team, and you have a Red Cross volunteer as one of your teammates to answer any questions you have. So that is a very short-term commitment. Any company can do it, any community group, if you're affiliated with a church or any other city organization. I would encourage you to reach out to your local Red Cross, reach out to us and see if you'd be interested in attending these events with us and participating. And then kind of our broader spectrum of volunteer opportunities. What I love about the Red Cross is you can really do anything. Whatever your skill set or your interests are, you can volunteer in any capacity with us. We have photographer volunteers who go to some of our events, and they're just volunteer photographers. That's what their role they serve with us. We have folks that prefer to do more behind the screen stuff, so they do data. Personally, not my favorite thing, but I appreciate it once it's compiled.
There's always a space.
There's always
data
a space.
collection.
Data,
Yeah.
always.
So, yeah, if you have an interest in doing just that, you can be a volunteer at that. If you prefer more of the community-facing work, obviously we have roles in our disaster action teams where you're going to talk to a family after a home fire or another emergency, and you're really working them through those tough hours. So I would say there's a variety of opportunities. If you visit our website, redcross.org/volunteer, you can even take a quiz to see what might best suit you based on your time commitment expectations and your areas of interest. But I would just encourage anyone to just try to work with the Red Cross and see how meaningful it can be for you.
What was it about the Red Cross that drew each of you to, doing this work? Because like you said, Laura, this is humanitarian work. You are humanitarians at heart. What was it that drew you to get into the Red Cross and ultimately stay there for a long time and continue to do this work?
I will say I served on a board prior to becoming a volunteer for the American Red Cross, and it was a sickle cell board. And being a woman of color, knowing how sickle cell is very intrinsic to the Black community, I was so impressed when I found out the Red Cross has an app. When you donate your blood, you can trace where that blood goes. If you want it to go to a specific organization, a cause, if it's within the scope of that app, you can certainly do that and track it. So it gives you the ability to know what you're donating, your blood, if it's platelets, that it's going to that organization. And I thought that was amazing. And the fact that, again, the wide footprint that the American Red Cross has, we touch so many lives. I have a neighbor who went through a fire, and we were just at a cookout at her house, and she just started talking about it, and it was so impactful to her, and it was a life-changing event because it saved their lives. So to have that direct impact, and we are in a data-driven world right now, to know that that blood that you donate is going very specifically to that cause that you want it to go to, I thought that was wonderful.
I'm sorry, Laura, go ahead.
No, and she's referring to our sickle cell program, right? So, we have an entire program that we if you self-identify as a Black or African American donor, your blood can be donated to help patients with sickle cell anemia who often need up to 100 transfusions in their lifetime. And I think that that's really, really impactful
Huge.
and meaningful. It's incredible. And just kind of Wendy is so gracious with her time as a volunteer. I feel almost, wrong. I work for the Red Cross, but honestly, I didn't have a Red Cross story before I came to the organization over 5 years ago. I knew about the Red Cross. I remember seeing stories about Harvey and how impactful that was, and seeing all the volunteers on the ground. I thought, wow, that's just so incredible. For me, it's about using whatever skill set I feel I have where my strengths are, and using it for something that's going to help someone else. So how can what I have in my bag of expertise or knowledge, how can that help someone else today? And I see the work on the ground every day with this organization. I see the impacts of my labor, my peers' labor, my colleagues' labor, our volunteer partners' labor. And I see it, and that's what keeps me here, and that's what has made me a Red Crosser for life.
So before I was doing this, I was a reporter and anchor at Fox 43 here in the area, and probably once every 3-4 months we would do a blood donation, Red Cross blood donation. And one of the really enjoyable parts of that is that we would walk around and talk to individuals as they were giving blood. And every single person that walked in, and most of them were regulars. Most of them were people that would donate. And I'm going to give you how often can you donate blood?
Every 56 days.
Okay, I knew you had that information.
Whole blood every 56 days.
Got it. So these people would come around. We would see them every single time that we would have a blood donation. And every single time they would have a story of why they were donating. And that, to me, was always inspirational, is that, something like this impacts everyone. And it's one of the rare things that everyone has the ability, almost everyone has the ability to help out, and whether it be volunteering or donating your blood. So you mentioned every 56 days someone can donate whole blood. What is it about the times that we live in right now where blood donation is so necessary? We hear it all the time. Blood shortage, we need help, we need blood. Talk about that a little bit, of just that need for people to step up and donate their blood if they're able to do so.
Blood cannot be manufactured, and it can't be stockpiled. It has a shelf life just like milk. So it's important that we have blood donors who are available to consistently donate blood if they are able. It's every 56 days someone can donate, but every 2 seconds someone needs life-saving blood. So perhaps you don't have a personal story or a personal connection today, but it doesn't mean you won't. And I think it's one of the most meaningful things you can do for a neighbor. And for me, it's been something that I feel so good after I do it. knowing I'm going to help someone. And to Wendy's point earlier, is knowing that I can see the destination through the app is really great for me to be able to see it through to completion. But I tell people, if you're contemplating donating blood, not sure, well, I'm asking you here today to look at it. Look to donate blood, because often people don't donate because they're not asked. Well, I'm asking every listener today, please, please, go to an FAQ page on our website, look at your individual circumstances and see if you're able. And if you aren't able or you're not sure about it, could you recruit a friend to maybe donate? Let's get more donors in our base. Let's get more people donating.
Yeah, and those are great points, Laura. And on our app, I was on it this morning. You can search your zip code. You can change the range of miles. I put in 25 miles, and you can see all of the blood drives that are already on the calendar that are in close proximity to your home, and you can just sign up right there on the app. You do the pre-work and you get there. It's a very confidential questionnaire, and they prep you, and there's usually nice music in the background. It's a really nice, calming environment. I'm telling you, I have serious anxiety over needles, and they made Wendy very calm. They really did.
So that's the thing. Anyone in Harrisburg can go on to the website right now. And what is the website again?
redcrossblood.org.
And by the way, we're just letting you guys know, we're going to have this come up constantly throughout. As we kind of go throughout this, people will be able to see redcross.org, redcrossblood.org. And people can go to that website and, like you said, type in, find whatever blood donation drive is happening near them, go check it out. And that's big. And Laura, to your point, you making a direct plea to listeners, the best part about this is that whether they're watching, 1 month from now, 1 year from now, 2 years from now, because this is going to live on forever in YouTube, this is timeless. This is evergreen. People will be able to kind of do this. So the plea, the ask for people to donate blood is always going to be there. So please, kind of what Laura said, it is so important right now. Is there any specific blood type that is needed now more than any other?
We always ask for anyone of all types of blood, but I will say that O negative is the universal blood type, which means it is what is transfused in those trauma situations where there isn't time. So O negative can be used with any patient in need. If you have an O negative blood type, I would say let's make that extra push to visit that website today. But we really ask for anyone of all blood types. All blood types are needed all the time. So please consider donating blood with us.
This is I'm so happy we had this conversation because it really, honestly, it's a push that I need personally to get back and donate. It has been probably 10 years.
We're going to hold you to that.
Yeah, no, I know, and so is my wife, who's an employee of the American Red Cross now. But honestly, it's been about 10 years since I last donated. The last time I donated was not a good experience because I got up too fast, passed out, as happens from time to time. And prior to that, there were no issues. But just this one time, it was a bad experience, and that was the last time that I donated blood. And there's no reason, really, why I haven't donated since. I just need to get back and do it.
And you can.
And you can. And I mentioned, though, a lot of people just don't have an intention not to donate. They just don't donate because nobody has asked them. And it's not top of mind for a lot of people. So everything that we can do as advocates for the Red Cross to talk to people and ask people openly to donate blood is a good thing. And we do, like I said, there are rare cases where there is, lightheadedness, some fainting. I will say our team is really good about easing people up, making sure that, and we got the snacks. So we got the snacks after.
Great selection of cookies and crackers. Excellent orange juice, top of the line.
Get you hydrated,
exactly.
everything. And we do require that people sit for at least 15 minutes after that donation, just to make sure that we don't run into an issue of someone getting a little lightheaded, and particularly if they have to drive. But I know every time I've given, they've asked me to wait at least 15 minutes.
So real quick, before we part ways, I want to give you the opportunity one more time to kind of where could people find more information about the Red Cross, whether they want to volunteer, whether they want to donate, find a donation location, just whatever information people can find online, social media, where can people go?
Visit redcross.org for any and all things Red Cross. If you are very specifically looking to donate blood, you visit redcrossblood.org, and that's where, as Wendy indicated, you can enter your zip code and find a blood drive near you. It's very, very easy to use.
Or set up your own.
Or set up your own blood drive. That's a great point. And then if you're interested in volunteering with us, you go to redcross.org/volunteer.
And we do need volunteers. I am asking for you to volunteer, and I know we have to wrap it, but it can meet your timeline, it can meet your comfort level, it can be virtual or on the ground. We're very flexible and accommodating.
Harrisburg, you heard it. Volunteer. Volunteer, donate. Laura Burke, Wendy Jackson Dow from the American Red Cross of Central Pennsylvania, thank you both so much for joining us on What's the Word Harrisburg.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. It's awesome.
And that is The Word Harrisburg. Thank you again so much for joining us here on WHBG Channel 20. We'll catch you next time.